boy, George Anthony, aka Big G Anthony, and welcome to another episode of Massive Action Mindset. I'm sitting here with my boy Alan, and what we're going to talk about this week is the healthcare system, the disenfranchised, and how what he's doing is disrupting the entire system with his business and the things he's out here putting forth for the community. Listen, but before we start, I want to make sure that if you're on Facebook, make sure that you like, share, start a watch party. If you're on YouTube, click that little bell and subscribe so you know when we upload our new episodes. Listen, we do this for you. We bring these thought leaders on here, these influencers, so that you can get unstuck. You can start moving in the year 2020 to be your best self, to go out and accomplish your dreams, goals, and aspirations by this information that these people are bringing on and dropping these nuggets. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce Alan. And again, thank you for coming to the show, man. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. George, it's been a wonderful ride, understanding a lot of things that we're doing in our space. But before I talk about Teledactyl and the way we're disrupting healthcare, I'll just give you a little bit of introduction of where I'm coming from and where I hail from and how I got to Florida. Alan Bottorff from Surrey, Wisconsin, a little north of Green Bay, so I am a Packer fan. I went through school. A lot of times I was told by many teachers that you can do anything you want to do, but you need to focus on one or else you won't make it. And I actually asked the guidance counselor what way I should go. Should I go to college? But in Wisconsin, they really concentrate on more of the factory and farming industry. It's the agriculture thing. It's not so much driven towards education. So right out of high school, I went into the military. I went to United States Navy, 21 years before I retired. I've had a lot of my own obstacles while I was in the Navy, although I hit the highest ranks and been all over the world and did a lot of missions from the Somalian pirate rescue mission with Captain Phillips to the Indonesia having their tsunami, to Haiti having their earthquake. I've been involved with all those operations. But I also had a time in my life where I had cancer, and I was 21, 22 years old, Burkitt's lymphoma, very highly deadly cancer if it gets through all your parts of your body. Thank God I caught it stage 1, and I was able to fight it off. So I've been cancer-free for over almost 2 decades now, and I'm very, very appreciative that God gave me the second chance. One thing I also wish I would have learned in high school, and the area I'm from, is what HBCU stood for. Because until I got out of there and got to some of the major cities, I realized the impact that HBCUs have on people of color, us as an organization, or us as people, to be able to further ourselves. So after the military, I finished my undergrad degree. After I did my undergrad degree, I got accepted into Duke University, did my MBA. So I actually wanted to be able to give back to the community what God has given to me. And it's kind of what brought me here and where I am at today. So it did take a village. Like, I didn't do this on my own. I wish I could just take all the credit and say, I did this. But really, it's those special relationships that you have with people out in the community, and the special relationships you have with your family that actually mold you and help push you in the direction you need to go.
I hear that, man. Let's get a little bit more into, since this is about mindset, massive action mindset. That cancer scare that you had during that period of time. What did you go through any type of personal development? What is it that you had to do to keep driving and stay consistent and saying that I'm going to get through this here, and to help build yourself and know that there was light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and it was a time in my life where I was in the military, and I was stationed in Hawaii. I was on a ship. We were told to, at that time, blow out asbestos, but at that point, we're blowing out asbestos without the PPE, which stands for personal property. The gear that you use for protection. And never thought I would get it, because I'm young. And actually, 2 of us had gotten it. The other, my friend, he actually passed.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I go through this challenge in my life. I go to the hospital. I'm doing straight chemotherapy for 2 months. Didn't leave the hospital. Meanwhile, on the same side, because it's healthcare, because the military sees the big bill and I'm not really an asset because I'm not out there in the fleet doing what I need to be doing, they wanted me to retire. They wanted me to medical retire. And I'm the type of person that's been taught by family and friends that you don't start something and quit. You either make a difference because you believe in it. So I stayed in. 2 months later, after spinal taps, after a scare where my blood pressure went from regular to 105, my temperature went to 105, they had to give me morphine, a blood transfusion. After all that happened, it was the epiphany of, okay, there must be something much greater out there. It's not about me being this young kid and being flashy with rims on your car or loud music in your thing. That as a black person, we need to represent ourselves a little bit better. We need to encompass people around us that are going to make us better. So the mindset at that point was, how do I get away from the fact that I am trying to just be cool with people and then build relationships? Because building relationships is a lot different than networking. Networking to me means you give a business card, it's very standoffish and you hope they call, but the card probably goes in the trash can. A relationship is something that you connect with someone that you say, you know what, I can't get enough of this person in my life. So the mindset should always be, and from this experience that I had, is to build organic relationships that that you can go to say, hey George, I got this complication. What would you do in this situation if you're in it? And be able to take those words and encompass it into making it what you need it to be. So in that trying time, it was beating cancer. It was a lot of self-reflection of there must be something that I have to do. That God has me have to do, and not knowing what it is, because at that time I'm 22 years old. I didn't start building the wealth and all that kind of wealth is relative, and it'll always be financial. But wealth to me, to build this stuff, it had to come. I didn't plant it then. I just planted seeds, and so relationships were big, and that became the big part.
Yeah, you know what, man. Yeah, and a lot of people don't know this when it comes to me, and this is actually what actually got me to write my book, when it comes to the bulletproof mindset. And, it takes a scare, for people to truly change. I was at a point, a few years ago to where, going through a divorce, while in that divorce, having financial issues, having issues with my profession and how things were going, being disgruntled and dealing with resentment and anger and frustration, that you have all these walls closing in on you, that, I'm sitting here drinking some vodka at the time, and I actually thought that, hey, the only way that I could end all this here was ending my life. So it took that little epiphany for me to understand that when it comes to emotional decisions, when it comes to hitting that bottom and feeling stuck, that's when you truly, if you see it, have a sense of enlightenment that there is something better out there. Because I could have pulled that trigger, I could have done this here, and we wouldn't be sitting here. So, not knowing where you're going to go, not knowing, what's out there, but just knowing that there is something that you should be doing, that you should be reaching, helped me, in a sense, start more personal development, helped me start looking more into myself and saying that, hey, you know what? Yeah, I can blame others, but ultimately, I say this all the time on my show, Les Brown has a saying, the position that you're in today, you made an appointment to be there. So I had to go back and do the self-reflection and say, what decisions did I make in the past that got me to this point?
Right. That's deep.
Hopefully to change those results, So it's just, when I sit here and I think about some of these things, I'm like, why does it have to get to that point? I know in a medical situation, you have nothing to do with that, but situations where it takes people to hit rock bottom before they truly make any type of change, before they truly see any type of light, they start taking the step to either move forward or stay where they're at, and that's still a decision.
That testimony you gave is just, it hits deep, and every family deals with, with it, whether it's them personally or someone in their family. I truthfully believe that the reason why it takes something very drastic, or a tragedy or something to happen, has to do with behavioral issues that, sometimes there's a mindset set when you're young. Sometimes it has to do with, this is all you know. And because it's all you know, it's because you don't have the experience of venturing out. And the fact that you gave your beautiful testimonial, and the reason why we're here today, and how you're affecting a lot of lives that are out there now today through your show, is important. And I think that's kind of like when you do see it, like you said, when you see it, when you do see it, there's something bigger out there. I'm no longer trying to build businesses for money. It's not in my mindset. I am building businesses for legacy.
Yes.
Because if you do the right thing, money does follow.
Yes.
But if you focus just on money, then you are kind of closed off from everything else that you need to be doing.
Well,
so I thank you for sharing that.
Well, that goes back to, again, when it comes to personal development, you either have an abundance mindset or scarcity. If you're doing it, money is a large part of it, but if you're doing it strictly for money, and you're not attempting to provide that value or putting it out so that you can help others, you may make the money, but you're not going to make as much as you can. Zig Ziglar says that, you help enough people get what they want, you would get what you want, and that's the whole thing, and that's what this is all about. That's what this show is all about. It's about just putting that value out there, so hopefully, that one person that's sitting there saying, hey, what am I going to do? Or how am I going to change? Or what, that one person that says that, hey, I would like to jump into this here. Now I have a point of contact that I can reach out to and say, hey, can you assist me in doing this here? Can you become, would you like to be a mentor or show me how to do this? Because it takes a village. It does take, you can do it by yourself, but it's going to take longer. But having a coach, having a mentor, having individuals that you're surrounding yourself with, that is what helps you elevate.
Right.
So, but with that, we're going to sit here and go to a commercial. Make sure you guys like and share on Facebook. Start a watch party. Let people know that we're out here putting this value out here for you. Second, if you're on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, click the bell so you know when we upload our new episode. We'll be right back after this commercial break. What's up, world? It's your boy, George Anthony, aka Big G Anthony. Hey, this is for you guys. It's out. Bulletproof Mindset. My first book. Listen, guys, this book I wrote when I was at a very low place and I was dealing with my demons of resentment, anger, frustration. I was going through a divorce. I'm unhappy at work. I was having financial issues to where it took me to a place to where, yes, I thought about making that ultimate sacrifice. However, I found out this lifestyle syntax, this 4-step process that I utilize to bring myself back in order to start putting myself in a better place, being more positive, and understanding that, like Les Brown said, that you're in a position today because of the decisions that you made in the past. I had to take ownership of it. The decisions that I made in the past is what led me to my financial problems. The decisions I made in the past is what led me to my divorce. The decisions I made in the past is what led me to my disgruntledness and my unhappiness at work. Those of you that are feeling stuck, I've been there. Bulletproof Mindset will help you out. You guys can get it on Amazon. Type in Bulletproof Mindset, Big G Anthony. Get yourself a copy. And those of you that get it, when I have my book signing, bring it in and I will personally autograph it for you. Bulletproof Mindset. You guys want to find out how I changed my rap? Get the book. Remember, you got to change your mindset to change your situation. Peace.
Go to bulletproof.bigganthony.com, bulletproof.bigganthony.com.
What up, world? It's your boy, George Anthony, aka Big G Anthony. I'm sitting here talking to my man, Alan, and we're talking about his company Teledactyl on how it's disrupting the healthcare industry utilizing blockchain.
Technology, yeah.
Man, you know what? We were at a meeting a couple months ago. Were down in Miami, and they were talking about something similar to what you're talking about. I don't know if it was Teledactyl, but they were you talking about blockchain, on how you assign it to an individual, and now that person is, carries around all their information.
Yeah. So the way the blockchain works in a quick summary is that information flows into a block, and once it transfers somewhere else, it makes another block. And then once that's transferred back, it goes another block. So it's not just used for healthcare. Financial people are using it now, and the financial data, because it's the securest form and HIPAA compliant form you can get today. So if someone actually would try to hack into one block, and let's say they were successful, it shuts down all the other blocks. But the code that's written in there is binary code. It's all zeros and ones. You can't actually transcribe it to be anything. So it's just wasted data. So that's what makes it very, very secure, and that's why financial institutions, us in healthcare, you're going to start seeing it in different industries. Walmart uses it for supply tracking. So that's why it's so neat. So it's the underlying technology, but Teledactyl is the application on top of the technology. Yeah.
So before we get into your social media and stuff, if you can, just explain why is it that you have those companies? The security of it, I understand. But do you think that this is something that's going to start growing? Just when it comes to technology, once you start one thing, it's obsolete. The very next day.
Right.
So when it comes to the blockchain, what makes these companies feel that this is the next step in evolution of how to make sure that things are staying secure, so we don't have our personal information being hacked in when it comes to TransUnion or
Right.
this just happened on these other companies, or Yahoo. When it comes, you think that the internet is going to go that way as well, when it comes to protecting our personal information.
Well, even more closely, Rivera Beach had the ransom for the information they took for, I think, was Rivera Beach, when they hijacked them, I think, end of last year sometime, and they had to pay in Bitcoin. So the reason why I think this technology is here to stay is because it's also a database that's secure. So think of blockchain as a database, and if my partner and I 3 years ago would have rolled this out and said we're doing blockchain, it would have been crazy way before our time. Mm-hmm. But blockchain is slowly gaining its credibility based on the use cases that are being put on it, not just cryptocurrency. That's only one part of it. But blockchain can either be cryptocurrency, using tokens for cryptocurrency for cash payments, or it can be utility tokens, which drives information. We're over here in the utility section driving information. But the cryptocurrency, I will think, will also be big at some point, and it's big in other countries as we speak today. And the reason why it'll be big is because people are giving it value. How do you think the dollar has a value, or bonds, or anything? Yeah. We give it the currency value because we use it, and they're volatile to a certain point. Cryptocurrency, although it's new, it's going to be that way. So we want to stay away right now because this is too much right now for people. But this utility piece where we're driving information, it's huge.
Well, I can tell you this, you go over off of your own Clematis, you have a lot of places over here that are actually using cryptocurrency as a payment method. Mm-hmm. I believe they have cryptocurrency
ATMs. I saw one, I saw one.
So it's like you're saying, it's definitely gaining in credibility. You're seeing it pop up here and there.
But the issue becomes is regulation. And so the government needs to be able to regulate in some way, and they're having a hard time doing it because, like I said, because blockchain is so secure, they can't get access to it. Yeah. So they don't know. And if you read a book called Silky Road, or if you know the story about Silky Road was an underground way of getting arms and drugs and trafficking, and all that stuff was done through through blockchain technology. But they couldn't break into it. The only way they caught the guy was to set him up and have it a big operation, and end up catching them and shutting it down. But blockchain technology is going to be here to stay. If you don't have it in your business now, and you want to be in that blue water in front of everyone, especially if you're in healthcare or financial industry, you need to do it now, because once it is big, it's going to cost a lot of money. But if you get in there in the early onset and you become some of these use cases and they test it out on your systems, then you already have it, and you're not. It's kind of like how Southwest negotiated their gas at the beginning, when everyone said you're crazy for negotiating gas at the beginning and paying that money. Well, when the gas prices went up, guess whose gas did it? It was Southwest.
Yeah.
So Southwest. So it's kind of the same, similar. And it's an analogy, but it's the same such situation that you want to get in, you want to start to be innovative, and there's so many things that can happen off the blockchain. It's incredible.
Well, just to touch on this a little bit more, it's just I hear, from my reading and my understanding of it, it's not big right now because of the regulation, especially here in the U.S. That they don't have access to it, they can't account for it, they can't, in a sense of so many words, they can't get anything back off of it.
That's what it is.
And because of that, hold on, we're gonna put a stop to this here, or to enact all this legislation that says you can't do it here, or you can't be here, or you can't be paid this way. That it's the reason why it really hasn't taken off in the U.S. like most other technologies.
And that's one of the reasons why we don't do the cash method, because if you receive whatever cash, then you're exposed to the government. But all our use cases, whether it has to do with employers, whether it has to do with nonprofit, whether it has to do with medical marijuana, which we're in, where we have use case for that. We have use cases for university systems. Like all these use cases that we have that we're going to put out, it doesn't use cryptocurrency, but it does. All that information is stored on blockchain. And to be a person that has control of your data, because in 2006 the government said we're going to have EHR, EMRs, and PHRs. Well, they stayed away from the PHRs because they wanted to focus on EMRs and EHRs, which is controlled by these companies that are trillion-dollar companies for EMR systems.
So like just the acronyms you use, can you just give
So EMR is the electronic medical record, the EHR is the electronic health record, and the PHR is the personal health record. That is the only one where the patient controls their data. And if you can remember, in the Reagan years, I used to carry around a brown folder with all my information. I used to walk in the doctor's office, he used to sign everything there, whatever the notes in, put it in, and my mom used to take it home. We're just doing it electronically now, and it's secure, where your folder could get stolen. You can't break into blockchain, so you own it, and the code changes every time you transfer the information, so it's never the same code. So we're gonna move that way. I don't know when they'll be able to get their money out of this stuff, but long as we're doing the information stuff, it doesn't really matter. So we're good.
And with that personal code, the personal health record, you actually have to have your own personal code.
Right.
To go out.
Right. You have your own
transaction.
transaction.
If you lose that code, you pretty much.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a wallet, but you're giving a folder, which is a wallet. We call it a wallet, and it has a transaction number of your code. It gives you a master code. So you actually put the master code. Some people put it in safes in the boxes so that they keep it, because if they're doing cryptocurrency, they also have their money on that. But yes, you're given a code, but when the transaction happens, those transaction numbers, some of them change, and so that way you can never zero in on a number and keep repeatedly try till you get it, because now you have to start all over to the beginning. So yeah, it's they do have their own codes.
All right, man. This right here has been totally enlightening. I'm telling you, this is something that is eye-opening with the direction that you guys are going. Why don't you go ahead on and give everyone your social media contacts so they can get in contact with you personally and know where to find your business?
Okay, yeah, we're at teledactyl.com, www.teledactyl.com. The name Teledactyl came from a visionary back in, I think it was 1925, and his vision was that one day we would be able to see patients either over airwaves or television, and that's telemedicine. So because we include telemedicine in our product, that's why we call it Teledactyl. We're also on Twitter, we're also on Facebook under Teledactyl LLC. Drop us a line, like our page. We are changing the way healthcare is delivered. We're excited about the partnerships that we have coming up, or the potential meetings that we're having with a couple of nonprofits, a couple of employer models, and you're going to see a lot from Teledactyl, and even before this first quarter ends. So we're excited where we're at. I do appreciate being on this show because, first of all, not only are you my good friend and everything, and I respect you, but your shows are very enlightening, and we need to be able to help others out there in the industry.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Now, you said you gave them all the Teledactyl information. You have any personal, your personal Twitter, personal LinkedIn that they can reach out to you?
Yeah. So I have my LinkedIn page, Alan Bottorff. I think it's Alan E. Bottorff, but if you look up Alan Bottorff on my LinkedIn, that's what I use mostly for business. I really don't do much on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram because one, I'm old and I know how that stuff is going. But I'm on LinkedIn a lot. I think that's where businesses I can do better connections because of the connections I have when people need things. So best to get me on LinkedIn.
No problem at all. With that, we're going to go to our commercial. When we get back, we're going to go to the hangar, and Alan's going to give you 3 actionable steps that you can start out now. Those on Facebook, like, share, start a watch party. Those on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell so you know when we upload our next episode. We'll be right back. What's up, world? It's your boy, George Anthony, aka Big G Anthony. Hey, this is for you guys. It's out. Bulletproof Mindset, my first book. Listen, guys, this book I wrote when I was at a very low place and I was dealing with my demons of resentment, anger, frustration. I was going through a divorce. I'm unhappy at work. I was having financial issues to where it took me to a place to where, yes, I thought about making that ultimate sacrifice. However, I found out this lifestyle syntax, this 4-step process that I utilize to bring myself back in order to start putting myself in a better place, being more positive, and understanding that, like Les Brown said, that you're in a position today because of the decisions that you made in the past. I had to take ownership of it. The decisions that I made in the past is what led me to my financial problems. The decisions I made in the past is what led me to my divorce. The decisions I made in the past is what led me to my disgruntledness and my unhappiness at work. Those of you that are feeling stuck, I've been there. Bulletproof Mindset will help you out. You guys can get it on Amazon. Type in Bulletproof Mindset, Big G Anthony. Get yourself a copy. And those of you that get it when I have my book signing, bring it in and I will personally autograph it for you. Bulletproof Mindset. You guys want to find out how I changed my rap? Get the book. Remember, you got to change your mindset to change your situation. Peace.
Go to bulletproof.bigganthony.com, bulletproof.bigganthony.com.
What up, world? It's your boy, George Anthony. Welcome back to Massive Mindset, and I'm sitting here with my boy, Alan. And what we're going to do right now, we're just going to jump right into it. We're going to talk about his business, healthcare, disenfranchising, how Teledactyl is out here disrupting the healthcare system. He's going to sit back. I'm going to let him explain his business and how this can help you, your family members, and any loved one that you may have.
All right. Well, thank you, George. So jumping right into it, Teledactyl. In its first conception of Teledactyl, my prior business, which was a home healthcare agency, was affected by extended revenue cycles and reimbursement rates being less. And so what I wanted to know was why, when I found out, I was like, why is this happening? And I found out Medicare, the government, has so much control of how we are funded. Mm-hmm. So when I started peeling back the onion, and I was with my partner, Dr. Seth Krapp, his business also was affected by it. So we sat back and we're like, okay, if Medicare is, cutting costs, and now I used to get paid 85% reimbursement rate. Now I'm at 30. I used to get paid every 13 days. Now I'm at like 6 months. Mm-hmm. You can't run a business like that, especially if you're just a government agency type business. So we found out there's a lot of wasteful spending, redundancy. It's like if you went to a doctor's office and you had to go to another doctor's office, you'd have to fill out the same paperwork. They had to do the repeated, lab work and all that kind of stuff when they really should be inoperable. They really should be talking to one another. But by design, these companies, and I'm talking about EMR systems that a lot of stuff is documented in, they are actually by design in these silos because they make trillions of dollars. They don't want them to connect, because if they wanted them to connect, you should be able to do everything one time. You should be able to go to have a scan of something, all your prior information, all your medication should be in one place. You should be able to, a doctor should be able to make a decision based on all the information instead of half information, so they can treat the patients better. So we came out with a currency, a cashless currency system and a record system, an EMR system. We were going to use cryptocurrency as a payment, and we were going to use your own personal health record, and you would carry it. The person would do it. But what we started going out to all these shows and these things that we were doing, we were finding out from doctors that, well, one, cryptocurrency is really like scary, because everyone thinks of it as Bitcoin and all that kind of stuff. And they really don't care about the record. What they care about is being more efficient and more time with the patient. So even though we built this stuff on blockchain technology, we thought that blockchain, which uses cryptocurrency, was the solution. We quickly pivoted to an actual solution. We built an application on top of blockchain that can do better efficiency, interoperability, and transparency. Transparency to the point where you're not really seeing all the money where they're going, because in that case they would come after us and shut us down. That's not till later. But for now, it's to set up an application that makes it not only easier for the patients to get the care, it's to provide more access in these underserved areas, because our focus is the underserved rural areas that typically have to drive 45 minutes to go see a doctor, be there all day, and then have to come back, and they have to figure out how they're going to put food on their table because they were gone all day. So what we did is design Teledactyl and an application that one of our use cases is for employers, self-insured employers, where we're able to reduce healthcare per employee by 30%. To give you an idea what that is, Walmart spends $3.8 billion on healthcare annually. Let's just say $2 billion of that was non-emergent care that could be used on our platform. And I'll talk to what that platform consists of. We are able to save them 30% per patient, which means that it's roughly $60 million a year on healthcare. And it's basically because of our application, which connects to their already existing telemedicine, their existing pharmacy, and their existing lab and education onto one platform. It's highly HIPAA compliant secured. You cannot break into it because it's on blockchain. Not even a million years and all the computer power in the world, you can get through the system. But our goal is to actually bring everything there, because I don't know if the viewers, you might have insurance with employers. Sometimes your insurance, all your benefits are in different places. We optimize that benefit by using this application. And it does an algorithm, it does a recommendation of what we want to provide. So for instance, instead of going to the ER, that urgent care where you're paying $6,000 or $1,000, it'd be a $40 visit on telemedicine right where you're at, and you can stay at work. So it eliminates that absenteeism. We open it up to the community by the pods that we design in the retail grocery stores, where they can come in and get the same type of doctor's visit all in one place. What that does is it also allows the company to optimize or actually upsell their products. So they're fighting against Amazon. So it's an ecosystem that created that basically is a win-win for everybody. And at the end of the day, the employee, the patient, the client, we call them clients, they carry their own record with them. They control it, they control the data, all their information's in there, so they don't have to sit there 15 minutes prior, fill out the information. If they were at dermatology and they had to go to a regular internal medicine and they end up going to ER, the same John Smith is the same John Smith. So basically our algorithms have a way to do patient matching better than what AI does. And so we're excited about where Teledactyl is and how we're going to disrupt the healthcare in a good way, where patients can now be involved, take control of their health, but doctors can actually provide better care and better time with their patients while we're lowering costs.
Now, this is, are these physical visits to these doctors that you're talking about, or because I know that there's other applications out there that, because I heard you said like telemedicine.
Okay.
There's Teledactyl, where instead of going into urgent care or a doctor, I can call up and do a televisit with a doctor, tell them my symptoms and where I'm, what I'm having, and that doctor can prescribe and diagnose me and give me a prescription straight to the pharmacy. Is that similar, or?
Well, you hit it on a dot. So it is virtual medicine, and the beautiful thing is that we don't own the telemedicine company, although we have a telemedicine company as an alternative. We use the telemedicine company already in network for the actual employee. And then if they're not an employee and say they're in the community, they can use our telemedicine. They get a chance to select which telemedicine company they are. But it's supposed to be bringing access to where they're at. And the nice thing is, if you don't have insurance, and a lot of times our ERs are full of people that are, that are using the ER, and the emergent care doesn't get to, the real emergency care doesn't get, tend to as fast because people are there for colds. It's only $40. So people are they're able to afford healthcare as they go, instead of paying the $600 a month that they can't afford for healthcare. Now they can do it on a one-time basis for non-emergent care. Does this help the hospital system? Absolutely. Because their hospital systems are full of non-emergent care, if we are able to bring those non-emergent care sick patients out of the hospital, that the ERs will truly be an emergency room where they can now focus on the real emergent care, not only, and have all their information in one place. They can bill whatever they want to bill, but they will get the level of care to the patient that they need, instead of a bed taken up if someone has a cold but they didn't have insurance, so they go in there. So it also helps them overall, like even bringing down some of the not bringing down, but some of the internal doctors that are there that don't need to be there. They can lower the cost of that by not having so many and having real experts there. So we definitely do a great job with that. We do hurt urgent care some. I used to own urgent care centers in Maryland, and back in the day they used to be in and out 20 minutes at max. Now they become extended doctor's offices. It's 3 hours, 4 hours. So we will disrupt that a lot. But for every other part of the organizations in the ecosystem, it really just improves them.
All right, so let me, I guess the other question would be, now we're talking about the actual doctor's visitation and how that lowers the cost. What about when it comes to, will it have any effect on prescriptions for those individuals that are uninsured, so that they can go out and afford the medication that they need to have in order to treat the whatever ailment they may have?
That's another very good question. It's like you had these questions ready. No, it does. So what we find is that patients are overly medicated anyway. And anytime you have more than 2 medications that you're taking, you don't know the real true interactions that they have with one another. And then instead of really knowing that, they add more medication and more medication, where we feel, and the study out there shows that they're over-medicated. But the cost of those medications costs a lot of money, right? So we have in our system, in our ecosystems, ways to have medication delivered to your door at a discount medication for different places, as well as the pharmacies you'll see in your area, whether it's Walgreens, whatever, Walmart. But we do try to find the best option for the cheaper cost. I remember being in the Walgreens the other day. My medication prescription are paid by the military, but I saw an elderly woman get a bottle probably like this big, probably a quarter fill, and they said $320. To me, that's crazy. But because pharmaceutical kind of controls how our economy rolls and the lobbyists that they do, it's about pushing medication, and we need to get away from that. So not only do we need to make it cheaper, and we find ways, and we put that on our system for patients, but we really need to find out, do they truly need to be on this medication, and how are those interactions affecting the behavioral health piece of it?
You know what, I hate to ask you this question here, but since we're talking about it, I got to put it out there. You're saying that studies have shown that our individuals actually being over medicated. Is that because that the benefit is in the profit of the medication and not really in the cure?
Well, I mean, we've seen the thing where the gentleman had the the lockdown on diabetes, and he bought it for $1 a share, and he was selling it for, I don't know, $10,000, whatever it was. It was ridiculous. I can only speak from my vantage point. I do know that there are people and there are organizations that are backed up by studies from universities that yes, it is a money generating, because if you look at this medication you buy in the United States and you look at that same medication you buy in Canada, there's astronomical difference.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think America uses the pharmaceuticals in America, overprice them and push them because it's $1 trillion business.
Yeah.
It's like everything's a business. School's a business. I hate to say it, but churches are businesses. Everything's a business. Well, this happens to be a business that has crazy margins.
Yeah.
And I've seen these guys and gals or these representatives come into doctors' offices. Used to come in my office and want to take me on a cruise. They want to take me out for dinner, and they'll go at it as long until they can get a yes. Once you say the no, then they leave. Then they come back with another drug, and they do the same steps over and over and over. And I know physicians out there know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I think they kind of got away from that because of the, I don't know what they call it. It could be the TALA or the whatever laws that they have against that. But they're trying to find ways to push these medications and these prescriptions. And to me, sometimes it might just be a good old-fashioned, garlic with, what we use, right? Yeah. So some of the natural herbs that we have. So yeah, to answer your question, that was a long way. I think that it's all because of the margins.
Yeah, and it's the interesting thing about that is that especially now that you have, and this is going off on a tangent, all the holistic approaches now that you have a lot of people going to, the organic, the GMOs, and the things that people are saying, the additives that they're adding to our food that's causing us to have more of these ailments, and it's driving individuals to, hey, you have to have this here, because of the things that you've actually consumed. So with that being said, does your company also, not only when it comes to healthcare, look at a wellness approach?
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up, because where we, from the research that we have been doing, education becomes a part of this. And the only way you can change behaviors through education. And the approach is not just to be able to provide them better convenience and access and lower cost, because we have other models that we're doing with nonprofits where we're linking their ecosystem with all the social determinant programs they have, so that people that are out there on the streets, like we target veterans, homeless veterans, as one of our national campaigns. They are able to get on their phone, which 89% of them have access to a phone, to find out what programs they can have, because they're, again, choosing, do I get me and my family something to eat, or do I find temporary housing for tonight? So if you have everything on an ecosystem where they know where to get a haircut, where they know that they can get education, they know how to write a business plan, they get the skill sets they need. It may just, and by the way, we give them one free visit, whether it's a psych visit or a wellness visit. It may just be that one conversation or that one link that changes their lives. But the education piece component is huge. And we, as Black people in our communities, and everyone in their communities, need to educate more people on why it's important to have health, and why chronic conditions lead to, travesty sometimes, and how we can be doing better as people, and not only with eating, but the exercise, because we're living longer. And if we're living longer, and we're living longer with pain and all these diseases, we could probably change that by just changing how we approach life. So I think innovation in wellness is kind of how we're doing education, but how we're helping with wellness.
I can tell you, man, just to go off on this tangent again, it's just, that whole educational portion of it, about how, as an individual, you can see a family member going through these ailments, the diabetes, the heart disease, and it all stems from how they were eating. Initially, you see this, and you continue that same cycle, and your kids see that and continue that same cycle. So it's incumbent upon us, instead of perpetuating all this stuff, someone has to break that cycle and say, hey, no, this is what we're going to change, and generationally start to walk that path of eating better, making sure exercising and make it, what Serena and I just was talking about this, have that a family meeting that this is what we're going to sit down and start moving towards, both financially and from a health standpoint as well. That it's all combined when it comes to the family ideology on how we're going to continue to move forward in the best way we possibly can, both physically, mentally, and spiritually.
And it has to go along with being present. Like, so we target, all types of patients, but if you think about it, it really starts in the home, like you just said. It starts early on. And when our economy started to shift into where it needed both parents to work, and then you at the same time you had technology advancing where it started to raise your children, there became a disconnect. And so when we used to sit down at the table and have these nice dinners and talks and how we need to be better as a family, we end up gotten away from that, and we need to get more back to that.
Absolutely. With that being said, we're going to end right there. We're going to go to a commercial. Those that are on Facebook, make sure you like, share, and start a watch party. Those on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell, like, comment. You guys, give us comments. We want to know what you want to see, the things if you're enjoying this. And I promise you, somebody from my team will get back with you. We'll be right back after this commercial. What's up, world? It's your boy, George Anthony, a.k.a. Big G Anthony. Hey, this is for you guys. It's out. Bulletproof Mindset. My first book. Listen, guys, this book I wrote when I was at a very low place and I was dealing with my demons of resentment, anger, frustration. I was going through a divorce. I'm unhappy at work. I was having financial issues to where it took me to a place to where, yes, I thought about making that ultimate sacrifice. However, I found out this lifestyle syntax, this 4-step process that I utilize to bring myself back in order to start putting myself in a better place, being more positive, and understanding that, like Les Brown said, that you're in a position today because of the decisions that you made in the past. I had to take ownership of it. The decisions that I made in the past is what led me to my financial problems. The decisions I made in the past is what led me to my divorce. The decisions I made in the past is what led me to my disgruntledness and my unhappiness at work. Those of you that are feeling stuck, I've been there. Bulletproof Mindset will help you out. You guys can get it on Amazon. Type in Bulletproof Mindset, Big G Anthony. Get yourself a copy. And those of you that get it, when I have my book signing, bring it in and I will personally autograph it for you. Bulletproof Mindset. You guys want to find out how I changed my rap? Get the book. Remember, you got to change your mindset to change your situation. Peace.
Go to bulletproof.bigganthony.com, bulletproof.bigganthony.com.
What up, world? It's your boy, George Anthony. Welcome back to Massive Action Mindset. I'm with my boy, Alan, and as promised, it is hanger time. Alan's going to tell you his 4 Ps on what you can go out and take massive action as soon as this show ends. So I'm going to hand it over to Alan and let him get to it.
Well, let's not confuse them with the 4 marketing Ps. Before I get into my Ps, though, some of these steps when it comes to building businesses or wealth, or if it's just internal, is that you have to understand that there needs to be a drive for that. So it kind of leads to my 4 Ps. One is passion. I think you have to be passionate about what you're doing. Without passion, and you're just going by the emotions, and you're just making means to an end, it isn't very satisfying. You don't have the actual ambition that you need in order to push through whatever goal that you have. Another thing is you have to stay positive. In life, not everything is always fair, and by taking the negative approach of a situation, only distracts you from what your main goal is. And believe me, the enemy's out there to make sure you're not positive, so you have to stay positive. You also have to persevere. So perseverance is my 3rd one. I think you need to be able to push through those obstacles. I think you need to be able to see those obstacles, push through them in order to reach your goal, because that sometimes it's so much easier to say, you know what, I'm faced this, I'm stopping. I just can't do it. And the last one would be to pivot. In life, when you're doing business and when you're doing just anything, it doesn't always go the same way you plan it. Sometimes you have to go off the path a little bit in order to get to the goal that you want to, or stay in front of your competitors. So you want to be able to do that. But those are my 4 Ps. What I also want to leave with you is, I think by design, I think when God made each and every one of us, He's already laid out all our opportunities. All your opportunities have been laid out from when birth until when you die. It's your jobs to step out in faith and to align those opportunities with your vision. So you have to be able to see everything that you're doing in everyday type of life. When you walk, oh my gosh, I see it, I see it, I see it. Align those opportunities, and you'll be surprised on how much reward you get back and how much favor you get back from it.
Well, you know what? Let me just reiterate your P's. First is passion. You got to have passion about what you do. You've got 85% of people that are going to jobs that they hate. 50% of heart attacks occur on Mondays. So when it comes to passion, you have to have something that you feel strongly about in order to go out and take action on getting it. 2, stay positive. You know, you're going to have those adversities that come up, but you got to be able to look at the brighter things and have gratitude for what you have right now. Amen. So positivity is always great. Believe me, I came from a place to where I was for years, I was nothing but negative. And guess what came into my life? Negative things. All the negative, I was feeding that monster of negativity every day with anger, resentment, and frustration, and could not figure out why I kept getting negative things into my life, because I wasn't positive. I wasn't looking at the brighter side. And when I was able to understand that the way I start my morning, I take control of my morning and not let others affect my emotional outcome, that I'm the only one that can affect it, my life began to change. Persevere. You got to be able to push through. Consistency is the key. And number 4, you be able to pivot. Like he says, things are going to come up. It's just like playing basketball. When you post up, you got that dude in the back of you. What you going to do? Drop step, pivot around, and sit up here and lay it up. You got to be able to move. You got things, you have to stay fluid. And lastly, like Alan says, that opportunity is out here. Les Brown, I'm a big Les Brown fan. Les Brown has his saying that most people wait for opportunity to knock on your door. His outlook is this: opportunity is standing right next to us. It's up to us to recognize it. So all of us have opportunity that's out here. All of us are walking around with the ability of being one person away, one connection away from our life changing. It's up to us to take on a different mindset and recognizing those people that we come around, recognizing those individuals that come into our life, and get the negative people out and start growing and changing our mindset.
Find a mentor or become a mentee.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's another big thing. Mentors and coaches get you there quicker.
Amen.
Because they have been through it. Yep. And they will hold you accountable. That's what most of us don't have. We don't have that mentor. We want to do it ourselves, and we sit here so self-consumed that we feel that we don't need that help because we know everything. That individual that think he knows everything is the one you need to move away from. You always can learn something.
Yep.
With that being said, man, I want to wrap up with you giving your social media stuff just one more time, and then we're just gonna make sure that they know where they can sit up here and contact Teledactyl, and make sure they know. And we're gonna wrap the show up.
Yeah, if you want to join the Teledactyl movement, it's at www.teledactyl.com, spelled TELEDACTYL.com. Also, you can catch us on Twitter and Instagram at Teledactyl LLC. We're live, we're moving. We will change healthcare. We have lots of interest. We have a lot of, you're going to see a lot of us. And so, and I'd love to be able to, answer any questions on the side. So make sure you jot down, a note to me or whatever. If you need help with a situation in business that you kind of don't know what the strategy behind it is or what, where to go, I'm willing to help. Just so you know, that's how you contact me. So.
Alrighty, and those of you that want to sit here and follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at Big G Anthony III. I'm on Facebook also at Big G Anthony. Those that want to be on my show, contact me on www.massiveactionmindset.com. There's a little drop-down window. You can put in your information, and we will reach out and contact you and see how we can provide the most value to you with coming on the show. With that being said, people, it's been another awesome episode of Massive Action Mindset. Just remember this: you got to change your mindset to change your situation. We'll see you next week.
From Brooklyn's Barbershop, owner here. We'd like you guys to come out, check us out. We're in the Village Commons by the Publix, 771 Village Boulevard, Suite 203. You can find us at brooklysbarbershop.com, also on Facebook and Instagram at Brooklyn's Barbershop.
Hi guys, my name is Franz, the CEO of Richmond Look. We are inside of Boynton Beach location, our only location in South Florida as of now. It's located at 474 North Federal Highway, Boynton Beach, Florida, zip code 33435. Our phone number, not many people use it. People tend to send us message on Instagram now, but the phone number is 561-317-5981. It's a beautiful store. Please stop by and see us.
How you doing? My name is Carlos.
My name is Eddie.
And we're here at JP's Barbershop, located at 1800 South Dixie Highway, Lake Worth, Florida, 33460. If you want to come show us love, we'll be here waiting on you, ready to make you happy. You can contact me at 786-740-8171.
You can contact me at 561-248-4702. You can come by, anytime you guys want, and we'll get you ready.